Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Life By Deisgn Podcast. On this week's episode, I welcome back Shani Timms. Shani is a business coach and creative director for women looking to elevate their soul-led businesses. Shani is also my partner, and that is what we're talking about in this episode. In this week's episode, expect to learn how we are coping with Janoah's departure from the Bay, how we feel about parenting and babies, what we think about being friends with your ex. We answer some of the juicy questions about all things the bedroom and much, much more. Enjoy the episode. Now, guys, before we start this week's episode of the podcast, I want to talk to you about the Life By Deisgn Mastermind. The Life By Deisgn Mastermind is the mastermind for go-getters and high achievers who are looking to create a more successful, fulfilling, and balanced life by design. If you're serious about transforming your life, achieving your goals, and living a life on your terms, then the Life By Deisgn is your golden ticket. Head over to the show notes and click on the link for more details about the program. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. A couple of podcasts going on again. Here we are. Shani Timms, both our podcasts.
Shani. For the listeners, it's Shani, but yes, you do call me Shani from time to time.
I don't know where that came from.
I don't know, just intuitive hit,
Yeah.
I like it.
It felt right. Guys, We've got a different episode today. Have we done one of these before?
I actually don't think we have, but I feel like I'm really excited for this one.
This is exciting. We are doing a Q&A. We've put the feelers out. We've gone, guys, what do you want to talk about? And here we are with a bunch of different questions. Some kid-related, some sex-related, some just X-related. Not X as in
XXX, triple X.
Not triple X, albeit we'd be open to it, but EX related. So we're going to kick off and we're just going to jam and we are going to see where it goes. I'm going to go in order of what I sent to you before, babe. I hope you don't mind that.
Okay, cool. You're asking the questions?
I'll ask the questions and then we'll jam.
Okay, cool. I love it. Let's do it.
Guys, the first question we've got, I've had this one numerous times before as well, is how do I get my man to step up? Shani.
You gotta stop calling me Shani.
We're rolling with it. Rolling with it, babe. What have you seen in terms of just so you guys know, Shani has an art. And often I know the art, sometimes I don't. It's this subtle form of manipulation. And I know people have a negative relationship with the word manipulation, but she just knows how to pull the right strings. And if you know how to pull the right strings in a very healthy way, you might also be able to manipulate your partner into doing good shit. So, babe, how do you manipulate me?
Is it manipulation or is it just?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think it's just playing smart. So maybe I'll share a little story. I remember the first round of Limitless that I was in of yours. You actually shared this story about if you want your man to step up and lead, almost tell him what you want and reinforce the good behavior. So if you want him to take the bins out, tell him how much you love when he takes the bins out and takes care of that for you. I like to think as well, men want to provide. They actually love providing for their women. So the more we can reinforce that behavior, the more it actually happens. So I actually don't know, if you notice this, I use the word I love it when you do this a lot. And this is actually, I learned this little trick from, I can't even remember the relationship coach, but she was like, look, your man's number one desire is to provide for you. So instead of nagging, just say I really love it when, you go to the shops and you get our meat for the week. Or, I would really love if you, last night, scrubbed the shower with the mold spray so I don't have to do it.
I enjoy it.
Saying what you love and then reinforcing the behavior is just, I think it's such a nice way of showing appreciation for the effort that your man is going to. And I don't know, from your perspective, Blake, it's such a different energy when it's hey, I really love when you did this, rather than can you take the bins out or can you do this? It's just a very different energy that it comes from.
It's the same thing being asked in a very different way. And to piggyback off what Shani just said, assuming you're in a healthy relationship, I kind of want to put that in there. He will want to move mountains for you. I've seen the difference for me, and I see it in the eyes of many other blokes, the difference between a healthy partnership where you guys are really on the same team and one where you're in a relationship but you're not necessarily like really that kind of one team. And one of the standout differences is when you really are in a partnership, he will do shit for you because he wants to. When you're in a relationship that, you know, might feel like you're at war with each other, he'll do shit because he thinks he has to or he's meant to. And that's the difference. If you're in a really healthy dynamic, fuck, he'll do anything for you. And to speak to Shani's point, you can get the same outcome in a positive, empowering, reinforcing way or in a negative, ball and chain, exhausting way. And it's you're pretty much saying the same thing. It's just in your delivery and how it's executed as well. So yeah, Shani spoke to it perfectly.
Yeah. And I think the key is like reinforcing it after, like how much you loved that or how much you appreciated that, because it's kind of like you're adding fuel to that motivation for them, being like, oh, like they that's what they get jacked up about, like knowing that they've provided for you and that you've appreciated it.
Blokes want to be superheroes. And in particular, they want to be superheroes for their partner. And I can only assume they want to be superheroes for the kids. I'll tell you more about that when that time comes. But if you are showing appreciation and gratitude, he feels like a superhero and you'll get more of it.
I also want to like add something to this. And this is something that I have been practicing a lot more, is actually receiving help from your partner. I think, you know, as women, it's like, you know, we've got to be independent and we don't need no man. And it's like, of course we can put the bins out. Of course we can, you know, go down to the shop and get the milk and all of the things. But it's also like allowing your man to step up and lead. I think a lot of the time we cock block our man literally by just taking ownership and taking charge of everything. And then it just like almost makes them so passive and not feel like that they actually can take that step forward and, you know, do the things to provide for us. So I think like that goes hand in hand with what we're just talking about, of actually like allowing your man to step up and lead as well.
Knowing that you can and being able to step aside, if that's the right language, is a really powerful position to be in. I'd also question, and this is obviously, you know, up to the individual to sit with for themselves, independence and your relationship to it, because there's really healthy, clean independence. And this might be hard to stomach for some of you. There's a really dysfunctional independence. And I, as an observer, would say that more people are on the unhealthy, dissociated, dysfunctional level of independence than they realise as well. So that's something for you to sit with and just explore on a much deeper level where your relationship with independence is sitting.
Yeah. And I would say like when we first got together, I felt like I was very hyper independent with money. And like that's been a big journey for me, unraveling that and not feeling like I need to be the go-getter and like the breadwinner and all this sort of stuff, and actually opening up and allowing myself to be supported by you. Like that's, I think as women, it's like a real safety net of like, I need to be making money to feel safe. And look, I know I'm in a fortunate position to be, you know, in the relationship with you and that you can support me as well. But like, that was a really hard thing for me to let go of, like actually, and not that I fully let go of it, but just allow you to support me financially as well.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
I love it.
Again, I think that's one of the reasons it's one of my favorite things to do is at the core, most blokes want to be a protector and a provider. And I think you and I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, the level of appreciation and gratitude that you have just reinforces, it's like this self-fulfilling win in your eyes, well, in both of our eyes, because by you being grateful and appreciative of me supporting you, you get more of it.
Totally.
Whereas if there's like an expectation, or if there's like, I guess if there's an expectation or there's an underlying energy that isn't clean, I probably wouldn't want to go to the level that I go to and want to in order to support you. But seeing, one, how grateful and appreciating you are of it, and then two, you're that natural protector, provider in the partnership that we've got, just makes me want to, do more for you as well. So a couple of things for you guys to think about.
I love it. That's the key. Appreciate and you get more of it.
Damn straight. Can be that easy.
I love it.
Question number 2, what do you think about being friends with your ex?
I feel like you go first on this because you're actually friends with your exes. I'm not.
Yeah. So, well, I wouldn't say all of them. So there's probably 2 that I speak to every now and then. And when I say speak to, it would be a message through social media or whatever. One, I dated somewhere between 15 and 18 years ago. I can't work out how long ago it is. But Sash, who now has 2 kids, lives in America and is happily married, I reckon there'd be some kind of message every 2 months, and it might be, she might be traveling or, just like pictures of her kids, whatever it might be. And I've even spoken to you about this briefly, like when we get married, I'd want to invite her, whether she'd make it or not. Unlikely because she's in America. But I just have such a huge amount of love and respect for her. She was my first kind of proper girlfriend and just like the most beautiful human. And then secondly, I touch base with Blaze every now and then, similar thing, probably every couple of months, and it's just a basic message on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing in this, and Shani and I have spoken about this, is you have to be really honest with yourself as to where the energy's at. And I know with those 2, it's really clean. There's no power plays, there's no ego, there's no real wounding. There's just a really clear mutual respect. And that's the difference between why I've stayed in touch with those 2 and why I haven't really stayed in touch with the others. Because, in some of the other relationships, there's kind of ego and power plays going on, and I'm not interested in that. And it's just not healthy. And I don't want to bring that into the union that you and I have, just because it's dirty energy. So in terms of, everyone has a different opinion on whether it's right or wrong, and even wrong is an interesting word, but I think you just got to be really honest with yourself as to, at the core, is it really super clean? If it is, that's up to you to make a call on it. If it's not, then I think it's an absolute no-brainer that you kind of keep your distance.
I love that. I love that you're friends, with your exes, 2 of them. It's so funny. I've never been friends with my exes, and not by any means of we ended on bad terms or anything like that. It's just, I think that they were very, karmic chapters of my life, and it's they ended, and it's like friends season, reason, lifetime. I think relationships are the same. It's some people come in and you learn the lessons and you're a huge part of each other's life, and that chapter ends. I don't see that that's a bad thing. I just think that it's our reasons for being in each other's lives are not there anymore. And that's 100% okay. As I said, there's no bad blood, not that I know of. It's just, we just don't really, when I think about my exes as well, they were so different chapters of my life. I actually don't see a reason to be friends with them now. Not in a bad way, just different.
Yeah. And the other thing for us to be mindful of as well is one of her exes is still in our life on a kind of grander scale, with, Rob being 0.1 of a degree of separation from us. So but he's a great guy. I've probably bumped into him, I don't know, 6 or 7 times. And it's all kind of cruisy there. But yeah, you choose actively not to kind of be too involved with.
Well, it's just I don't think I would ever pick up the phone and message him or anything.
Yeah.
If I see them at social events, of course it's, amicable and fine, and we have a chat and everything. But I think that's kind of nice. I don't feel that I need them in my life at this stage, Yeah.
It's all in the energy. And that it comes back to the exact way that I feel. I won't go into too much detail, but there was some pretty sus energy and some power plays playing out, and just things that just felt off in previous relationships. And I would at times doubt myself if it was a jealousy thing. But in hindsight, I'm very comfortable now with a lot of water under the bridge that, that just felt off for me at the time. And I wish I trusted my gut and my intuition at the time to really have a conversation when it felt off. But instead, I found myself in this internal conflict of maybe I'm just being jealous, maybe I'm being irrational. But yeah, with so much water under the bridge now and being able to look at it with a fresh set of eyes, it was odd is the best way. And again, If you're not in touch with your own energy, there's probably a bigger issue for you to be mindful of. But tuning into that energy and making a decision from that place is a good place to make a decision from.
Love it.
Question number 3, when will you guys have kids?
I don't know, imminent. We're not pregnant yet, but
we're trying.
Imminent.
Is that the right word?
No, we'll see. I'm changing our vocab. Trying is such a passive, like, I'm like, no, we're doing the baby thing.
Yeah.
Instead of trying. Trying feels so like passive, like, oh, we'll just wait and whatever. Yeah. It's like, no, we're doing it.
Yeah. We're throwing a leg over. We're trying. No,
we're not. We're doing.
Not trying. We're doing.
Throw that word out.
It's never coming back.
No.
So yes, we are doing, and I don't know how much we will. There's actually a question on here about social media, so we might just tie it in. We, at this stage, when it comes to social media, a little bit reluctant to kind of throw too much baby stuff on social media. We're most likely going to have a closed friends group of which we share photos of.
You call it closed friends. Close friends.
Close friends. Isn't that close? Close friends of which we will share like more intimate moments with our kids and everything else. I, at this point in time, don't really want pictures of my kids on social media. There's a number of reasons, some obvious, some not so obvious. And I also just don't personally think that we have the right to, I know this sounds strange, but to share our kid like without their consent, as strange as that sounds.
Well, I was actually listening to a potty this morning on this, and the lady was like, you know, once they got to an age where I could ask them if they want to be on social media and be posted, I started asking them, and that she actually was like, no, they don't want to show their faces. And that kind of changed things for her, because she was able to then respect, oh, they actually don't want to be on social media. I'm just going to, you know, reframe my content. And I think that's quite nice, like until they're at an age where they can decide for themselves. But, you know, who knows? We'll make that decision. We'll cross that bridge fully, I suppose, when we have a baby.
They're not a fucking party trick. Do you know what I mean? Like some people, look over here, as if they're some fucking puppet. I want to show my friends, look over here. Like I grew up at, you know, I'm sure we've all experienced it at some stage. Shout out to all the parents doing their best. Like, no, we're not fucking puppets. Do you know what I mean? So I've never heard someone talk about it like that, e.g. when they are at an age where they can make a decision on how they are seen on social media, but that resonates big time for me personally.
Yeah.
And who knows, we might change our mind. That's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
I feel that. So bottom line, baby's imminent. We're doing it. And yeah, we'll probably cross the bridge when it comes to social media, but that's our stance.
Yeah.
Love it.
Go from one extreme to another.
Yeah.
Kids to threesomes. This question has, I reckon every time I post something on social media asking us or asking what questions have you got for Shani, we're going to do a podcast, or we're going to do this. I don't know if it's the same person.
Do we give off threesome vibes?
Well, remember we used to get asked if we're in an open relationship.
That's what I think that people maybe
we're
thought.
Still giving those vibes.
I reckon people thought we're in an open relationship with Janoah. So they're like, oh, well, they must be, that must be the thing.
Yeah. So this question, whether it's the same person or whether there's different people, I get asked it from an anonymous caller every time I do a post about relationships. So there's
maybe they're keen.
They could be keen. Who knows?
I love it.
Do you want to answer it? Because I'm more mindful of your privacy than I'm worried about mine. So
like,
feels comfortable.
I know Grandma sometimes listens to the podcast. So Grandma, if you're listening, it's a no. But for everyone else, like, of course, we're, you know, interested in exploring all the things, and that's definitely on the list.
Geez, that was nice and punchy. I wasn't sure if you were going to beat around the bush or not. I don't need to add anything to that.
That's there you go. Done.
How have things changed with you guys since Janoah left?
Oh, I feel like there's someone in like the audience who's so team Janoah and was really mad when he left the house. Do you remember that
person? Yeah, she still heckles a bit.
Oh God, they were like, "How dare you leave Janoah?"
I know. She's got a thing. It's something. I reckon I'm almost adamant that it's a chick. We've got this troll, and I'm glad I've only got one troll these days. Back in the day, I had a lot more. Who is team Janoah and not so much team Shani. I reckon it's
Blake. They're not team you either.
She doesn't hate on me the way that
really?
she does.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, she hates. I don't know if it's a he or a she.
I reckon it's a she.
Okay.
Anyway, we should answer the question and not give trolls too much time. So
So we went through, I haven't really even spoken to Joe about this. Shout out to Joe if you listen to us.
Hey, Pancake.
I felt like I needed a little bit of a breather probably for a couple of months after he departed, and you were worried and a little bit weary of my energy in that. But I think working together, living together, socializing together, it's fucking amazing that we were able to do that for 4 years in the way that we did. And I just felt like I needed a breather. Like it was a form of a breakup. So it was probably about 2 months where I just kind of felt like I needed my space, and then we came back and we're as good, if not better, than we've ever been. So in terms of our relationship and I guess our life in Byron, I don't remember what you said, babe, about this, but essentially we'd created such a amazing cocoon that I, in a number of ways, was somewhat antisocial because I had everything that I needed at my doorstep, in terms of Janoah and Shani and obviously Morgs as well. And it's been a blessing, and I mean this in the most respectful of ways to Janoah, in that it's really forced me to get out and about and socialise a lot more than I was previously. And in a general sense, my connection and community is by far the best it's ever been. So I'm grateful for Janoah departing in that I've grown. We're obviously a lot better, and I'll get you to go into us. But we also get the best of both worlds because he's an hour up the road, he lives with a couple of our really good friends. Like we've probably got just as many friends in Goldie as we do in Byron. So it almost like gives us another place to go and hang as well.
Yeah, I think like I remember saying to you after Janoah left, and for anyone who doesn't just know Janoah's our best mate. And so he lives with us in Byron. Like when he left the nest, it felt like we went from being like three best mates, you mean him, to actually us being a couple in the house. I know that sounds weird, but I think when we were with him, it always felt like kind of, we were still coupley, but we weren't like fully, like super, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I just think it really helped strengthen us even more to go like further into our relationship and whatnot. I think as well, like I certainly grieved for a while after Janoah left. He's my best mate. I met him the exact same day that I met you. So we had kind of like, 2.5 years of building like a solid friendship. And like we did everything together. It was like every weekend we would all hang out together. Every night, Janoah and I would cook dinner together, and then we'd watch Game of Thrones or, watch a series together or play tennis on the weekend. So it was like we were literally in each other's pockets, the three of us for 3 years. So it was a really long time. And I remember like the day that he was leaving, I like sent him a photo and I was like, I'm just preparing my outfit. And it was this full like widow black, had this veil over my head. And I think I did go through this stage of grieving and just like feeling something's missing. It's like something that was a part of the furniture in the house is just gone. So I definitely miss him, but I think it's allowed our friendship to grow into the next chapter. And especially if we're, going to Babyland and all of the things, I think our friendship needed to like grow in this new way. And like, as you said, we get the best of both worlds. We get to see him, like, I still call him, and, we get to have amazing catch ups, and it's shifted our friendship, I would say, for the better as well.
I think all three of us have benefited in terms of obviously you and I on one level. I don't know how you would see it for you personally. I don't think we've ever kind of really spoken about that, but we definitely can see a strong correlation between his leaving and me opening myself up to new friendships and social. And then for Janoah, like there's a Byron, just the buzz and even kind of women and stuff like that. So many of our closest friends now are in Byron or in relationships. There's fucking 74 kids around us. It's just a very different way of doing life. And I don't want to use the word, our friendships, a lot of people are settling down because I like despise the settling terminology. But in a roundabout way, they're just going through a different phase of life with kids and things like that. So it would have been, I actually kind of hate to think where he would be at now if he was still here. I don't know how many months he's been gone, maybe 9 months now.
It's kind of like that. There you go.
No,
I was just going to say, it's like that quote, if you love someone, sometimes you have to let them go. It kind of felt like that. Like selfishly, I wanted him to stay because, we had this amazing bond and friendship and, I just love his company so much. But then I knew that for his best interest and like for his growth, moving was the best thing for him. So it was kind of like, a breakup in a way of like really having to let him go and spread his wings. And he's just flourished so much moving to Gold Coast and stuff. So I'm, super happy for him in this next chapter.
And credit to him, he was the one who instigated it as well. I mean, that kind of might seem obvious in terms of, if he's leaving, he instigated, but, situations like that, he's living a good life, like in Byron, we all live excellent lives. But for him to go from a good life and going through the motions, which can definitely happen, I kind of talk about the devil being, the good life being the devil in disguise of a great life. He had to kind of snap out of it. And I think we're even in Europe, were we, when he kind of broke the news to us?
Yeah, I think so. Devastating.
Credit to him for jumping ship, when he was on a good wicket, living a good life with, people that I think he enjoyed. So, credit to him. Do you guys have what were you going to say, babe?
I was just going to say, I love that question. I love that someone's Team Janoah that asked that.
Yeah. Do you guys have mentors when it comes to parenting? A lot of parent questions come. We haven't spoken.
I know. People are just onto it.
I don't know if I've ever witnessed two people be surrounded by so much parenting talk who aren't parents.
Oh, okay. But I want to say you ask literally a million questions to any parent that, like, I think we bring it on. Just to set the scene, anytime we have a dinner with friends who are parents, Blake rolls out this scroll of like 21 questions about parenting. And, it's literally, I can see his brain ticking over and writing the notes and, asking every question under the sun. So I think that we bring it on ourselves.
I do ask a lot of questions. I feel like you used to get a bit frustrated by like the amount of questions, and now you're just like, all right, here we go.
I just let you roll.
I'm just
so
curious.
Funny.
I'm just curious. I've got no idea what the fuck is going to happen, and I feel like with all this information, it's helpful, and at the end of the day, we'll make our own decisions. But I just want to be a little bit prepared for the initiation and the avalanche that is children.
You do know when we catch up with our friends that have kids, the last thing they probably want to talk about is kids.
I should think about their needs.
I know. And they're like finally adult friends who don't have kids coming over, and we're like, tell us all the stories about kids. They're probably like, no. Yeah. Had you thought about that before?
I hadn't, not until you brought it to my attention now.
I love it. Still do you ask the questions, but I don't know. I think that it's also good to think maybe they love having friends that don't have kids so they can break away and have a reprieve.
I should think about others a little bit more.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Consideration.
We actually do have mentors, albeit
but not
in a not kind of way. So for the last, how long do you reckon I've had this idea for about the 9 sets of parents in 9 months? 2 years?
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
So for 2 years, I've had this idea where over the course of 9 months that Shani's pregnant, I wanted to be able to like take out 9 sets of parents of whose parenting style we liked and just like pick their brain. And at the end of the day, none of it matters in a roundabout way because we'll kind of we'll make our own path. But I just wanted to like, pick the brains of 9 sets of parents. So for 2 years, I've been eyeing off 9 sets of parents, which actually one of our sets of parents is about to leave Australia, but we'll have to do a Zoom with them or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've eyed off 9 sets of parents of who I really like the way that they go about things and just want to take them out for dinner or do something for them and just kind of pick their brains and come in a little bit prepared for whatever will be.
I think we're so lucky in a way, like we have so many, beautiful families that have, birthed before us that we can have access to that. I would imagine that there's a lot of women who are giving birth, a lot of families giving birth, and they don't have people who have gone before them. So yeah, I feel very, very lucky that we've got, at least 9 families that we can pick their brains about this. Because it is daunting. Like we've never done this before. And yeah.
It is, it's fucking wild actually how many sets of parents we really look up to in terms of the way they do things. And everyone's got their own approach. But personally, for me, growing up and even in the first part of my 20s and the first part of my 30s, I saw a lot of different forms of parenting, but a lot of them didn't really like click. I was like, oh, that doesn't feel like my kind of style or my approach. And it's good to know what you don't want, but it also helps to have an idea of what you do want as well. And again, we're going to be throwing, the kitchen sink when it comes, and probably our perfect, not even probably, guaranteed our perfect plan will kind of get pushed aside, but still to have some ideas and have some insights from these people will be super valuable as well.
I've got a spanner question.
Okay.
So what are like two things when you think of, parenting or parents that like just give you the ick? Like either ways that people parent or like something that just is in that realm that gives you the ick?
The one that's there's a lot, but the one that stands out, and shout out to all parents doing their best, is how many, and Carl Jung talks about this, how many parents' unlived dreams they push onto their kids, consciously or unconsciously.
That's a good one.
I didn't make it as an AFL footballer, so I'm going to push you from the time you start walking to be a footballer. I didn't make it as an actor or an actress, so you're going to go to ballet school and dance school and acting school, etc. It's like I can't remember Carl Jung's biggest quote, but it's essentially along the lines of one of the biggest burdens a kid is going to have to carry is the unlived life of their parents. It's fucking horrible. So that would be number one. Number two would be over-indexing, thinking you have all the answers. And instead of guiding them and even realizing how much you can learn from them, controlling them and trying to fit them into a box and telling them exactly what they should do and how they should feel about A, B, and C. At such a young age, your intuition, which is fucking on point as a kid, is dulled or blunted because your parents override that intuition with, oh no, you should think this and you should do that, as opposed to being the guide and being like, it's almost like, I think there's an analogy essentially of like the dam within, if there's water flowing down, you're the dam that just kind of guides as opposed to fucking coming over the top of them. So those would be two that stand out to me. Actually, the one above all else, easily above all else, is the lack of responsibility and ownership that you take to do your own fucking work before you bring kids into the world. Like, this irks me more than, and this is a big part of the reason that I do as much personal development as I do, to minimize, definitely going to fuck my kids up, but minimize the impact that I have on my kids. I think it's like, I personally, this causes me as much rage as anything, as you can tell by my throat. It's fucking disgusting to go out and spend 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, $70,000 on a car and do no work on yourself and then have that passed on to your kids. I find that fucking disgusting. So yes, to have your kids be a little bit less traumatized than you is the ultimate goal. But if you've got a whole bunch of shit that you're not processing and not working through, hey, I'm going to go buy a $100,000 car. Hunt, go and spend $20,000 on therapy so that you don't pass it on to your kids. That would be my number one.
Yeah. We found an ick, ladies and gentlemen. We found the ick.
Found the ick.
Yeah, I think like we've obviously been on such a personal development journey the past however many years, 10 years or whatever, maybe yours longer. And I think it is so we can become clearer vessels. So when we bring kids into the world, we can have the least amount of impact or like just be the best guide for them, Like I'm so excited for my kid just to be like, I don't know, just grow into like their little form that they want to be. And like, if they want to dress in a fairy outfit, amazing. Just let them be them,
The other ick would be if any fucking parents, sorry, not parents, if any teachers, any part of society tells our kid at the age of 4, who might be a boy, that he's dressing in a fairy thing, that he needs to go and get psychological help and he should change his sex, I'm fucking coming after you. I swear to fucking God, if any of that narrative is pushed onto my kids, I'll fucking find you and like let you know about it. So that would be my other ick.
I love it. I love that we haven't even had kids and this is the fire that you it's so good.
Just here for it.
My icks were very different. My icks were like, you know, when people have like the gross cars where it's just like there's food smushed in like every corner and crevice and there's like stickers on the windows and it just smells like a stale salada. That's my ick.
Our icks are pretty different. I'm glad we've had this opportunity to talk them out though.
Oh, it's so good. Very different, but both valid.
Yes, absolutely. What do you guys clash over the most?
Is this a new question?
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
This was there.
What do we clash over the most? Well, there was a stage where I was really thinking that orange juice was healthy and you were not. That was probably like the main thing that we would argue about the most. Like, I love this orange juice from Suffolk Park, the spa there.
Okay.
It's like crack and I'm obsessed with it. And I would have it and be like, this is my health juice. And Blake would be like, that's not healthy. You're just drinking sugar. I'm like, well, it's from a fruit. Anyway, that's probably the main thing that we ever fight about.
Legit. The biggest one that we would clash, and we don't argue about it because we find it funny, is my desire for commercialization and your desire for nature. I'll see this like new development coming up in Byron. I'm like, that looks fucking cool. And Shani's like, save the trees, motherfuckers, get away. That would be
I'm like, no, they put a footpath here. I'm like, I wanted it to be grass.
Yeah.
Anyway, but also if you literally look at us now, I'm wearing white top with a white microphone. You're wearing a black top with a black microphone. Like we are literally yin and yang.
I don't know if you remember this, but we spoke about before we even started dating, at the very early stages, I was like, I will bring out the darkness in you and you will bring out the light in me.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And then we also I had a white Jeep, you had a black Jeep. We had the same Magic of Eye journal. I had a white one, you had a black one.
That's right.
We had like all these weird inverses of each other. And like I had 5 siblings, you know, 2 girls, 3 boys, and you had 5 siblings, 2 girls, 3 boys. And then you had a broken separated family, and I had a broken family. And yeah, remember there was like all these cool parallels at the start.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, yin and yang, baby.
Final question. It's gone quick.
It has.
How do you accept your partner for who he is when you have super high expectations? I might kick this bad boy off because this came up today in a Life by Design call. I think the biggest thing that stands out here is expectations is a one-way contract. So what I mean by that is you have signed a contract of the expectations that you want. An agreement is a two-way contract signed by 2 people. And that's where the breakdown often happens. You expect something, but the other person didn't agree to it. That's where the problem begins. So in order to shift that, you can have high standards, but the standards have to be agreed upon, not just expected, because in the expectation is where the resentment's going to build up. So talking of the agreements, making sure that you're on the same page with that, and also mirroring back those agreements to each other, because you might agree, but your interpretation of what was said might not be what the other person said as well. So mirroring back what you heard, or getting the person to mirror back what they thought they heard, just so that you're super clear on it. And what this also does is it helps avoid future conflict, because all that you do is you refer back to the agreement. Hey, I just want to get clear on what's going on because we agreed on ... Not my expectations were, we as a collective agreed on this as well. So that would be my piece to that.
Yeah. I don't even remember the question, but I feel like you hit the nail on the head. It's like, yeah, I think like when you have expectations of your partner, you're more likely to fall into disappointment, as you said, because it's not a shared agreement between the 2 of you. But it's just coming back to that team energy. Like, would you rather be like a one-way relationship where you're having all these heavy expectations and putting all this pressure on your partner, or would you rather, build a relationship where it feels like a team and like you're both striving towards the same goal together? Like that feels more of an enticing relationship that I'd want to be in, which I am.
Preach it.
Preach it.
Anything you'd like to add?
I was just going to think, do you have any spanner questions that you want to throw in?
What would be the number one difference between this relationship and any previous relationship you've had that has made this pretty easy and pretty smooth for 3 years?
I think like the word that just keeps coming up, it's just like home. It just feels like you're my safe haven. You're my person. Like, I just know that anything or anything that comes into our path, like you and I will get through it together. Whereas before, I don't feel like I had that fully, or I felt that we weren't really that team aspect. But yeah, with you, literally since day one, even when we were just best mates before we, actually started this relationship, like I just knew that you just felt like home to me, and you just felt safe and comfortable and exciting, and like all of the things in one. So I think, yeah, I like this, our relationship is completely not even comparable to any other relationship that I've had. Like, you actually proactively doing the work, like that's even a huge thing in its own, to have a partner who is actively seeking to be a better person rather than, just being a victim of their circumstances, or just saying, oh, that's just who I am. I just love being in a relationship where that is at the forefront, and it's so different to, as I said, anything that I've had before. So that's probably my answer.
Good answer.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I've spoken about this on a number of podcasts. The number one thing by far is the partnership that we have. And I spoke about this in a podcast I did with the boys recently, is I've been in a couple of relationships where I felt like it was a partnership, and I've been in a couple of relationships where I felt like it wasn't, and they are worlds apart. And obviously I've spoken to you in depth about this, the feelings that I have with you and the partnership that we've got. And, I speak very highly of Sash and the partnership that we formed, 18 odd years ago. And it's really interesting. I've sat with this thought a bit, thinking that partnership was a maturity thing, but when I was in a relationship with Sash, I was 21, and to form that partnership, it's an innate thing that you've got. Like, you can build it and you can develop it, and you become more emotionally mature, and you can work through your healing and your wounding. But it's not necessarily related to the fact that I'm 40, you're 30. Like, I've grown a lot since, the partnership that I had 18 years ago, and it's worlds apart. But you can have a partnership, if you're 18 and you're listening to this, you don't have to, quote unquote, be mature. I was the most immature human at 21, but there was just a partnership that was there. And I was saying this to a client today, he's going through a lot in his relationship, and he feels kind of really stuck. And I kind of we spoke a little bit about what I feel in this relationship. And there's and you and I spoke about this, there's the partnership that we have, which is the we component to it. And there's also a real healthy sovereignty in our own beings that continue to evolve over time. And I never want to in any way blunt that for you in terms of who you're growing and who you're becoming, and vice versa. I never want to feel like I'm, being held back from my natural growth and evolution. And for some couples, that's a real challenge, because one might be growing and the other one's not, and there's a desire to like pull back that person. I have no doubt that at different stages of your evolution, that's going to challenge me in different ways that I wasn't necessarily prepared for. And the onus then is on me to step into whatever I need to step into in order to hold that new version of you. And that might bring up some stuff for me. That's not your problem. At no stage do I ever want your light to be dimmed or your radiance to be, pulled back. I want you to continue to grow and evolve into even a stronger, more powerful, more truthful version of you. And that means that our dynamic will constantly evolve and change. And the onus is on me to heal my stuff so that I don't impact that in any negative way, and just to be able to hold the space for you. So what the initial question was, but
well, I think that like that, it sparked something in me as well. I think this is a relationship where you've allowed me to be me. It's like you haven't tried to, as you said, dim my light or water me down or try and change things about me. You've actually encouraged me to be more of me. And I would say, like, the past 3 years of my life, I've probably tapped more into my authentic self than I ever have. And it's because I would say a huge part of that is having that safety net of like knowing that I can come home every night to someone who loves me, you know, regardless, no matter what. So it's like, you know, maybe if I do go out in the world and be weird and fly my freak flag, it's like, then I can come back and I'm safe and I know that I'm loved. So I feel like that has been such a huge safety net for me to, you know, step even more into who I am, which has been really powerful.
I think as well, to kind of follow on from what I was saying and speaking to the client about, is often we talk about freedom in a relationship, and I haven't got any kind of research to back this up. I get the feeling blokes talk about freedom more so than women, albeit you have spoken about freedom numerous times. But I said to him, and I was obviously talking about our relationship, I was like, brother, the ultimate freedom that I've received in my relationship with Shani isn't about like time freedom or space freedom. It's the freedom to be myself. Like that for me has been the ultimate freedom that I haven't experienced in all of my relationships. And there's nothing for me personally worse than feeling like I had to shop a certain way, be put in this box, you know, instance when society's already trying to put me in a box. And then that's amplified by a girlfriend who's like, oh, that part of you shouldn't, you know, that's a bit edgy or that's a bit dark or that's a bit whatever. Whereas, you know, in our relationship, every part of me has been welcome, and I am interested in some fucking weird shit, you know, like I don't follow the kind of yellow brick road that everyone follows. And that can be really challenging, you know, like there's a lot of people that don't want to follow the default path, but the gravitational and societal pull to follow this default path, which looks like going to university, having 2.5 kids, buying a white house with a picket fence, and you know having a Labrador, is a strong pull, and that's why so many people follow it. And to feel like I don't want to follow that path, and to be accepted and loved and celebrated for the path that I do want to follow and the person that I do want to become, is like the ultimate freedom.
I love that. Love
Guys,
it.
that's
Hit
us.
the nail on the head. Boom.
See you soon.
That was so fun.
Peace.
Bye.